In the mid-1960s, an abalone diver looking for seashells at Taylor Island near Port Lincoln found some unexpected types of shell. Explosive ones from World War II.
The components of ammunition were mainly artillery fuses, which are the tips of projectiles which make the projectile explode. So they're mainly made of brass. There were 4 different types of artillery fuses.
Neil Williams had uncovered 25 tonnes of fuses and bombs. Navy divers recovered 18 tonnes of it.
So this one here is off of South Australia's first naval vessel, HMC.
Funny thing about old explosive, my understanding is it crystallises and can become more sensitive than what it was when it was put in. And it can go dud as well, but a lot of that, yeah, it's just part of the job. You never thought about it, you just did it.
Tom photographed the mission.
Pictures of the divers, pictures of the people, pictures of the bombs and things like that. You know, it's just generally what we picked up and how they looked when they came up with all the growth and seaweed and sponges and all sorts of things hanging off them. And you know, just give an idea what it looked like on the bottom. Working at Taylor's, you only get 2 days a month, if you're lucky, a day every 2 weeks when you've got no tide. The tide roars through there, absolutely roars through. So we had to let up. So with that meaning, we had double the amount of lead boots with double the amount of lead. We had our back weight pockets full of lead balls, 14-ounce lead balls, and then we had our front weight pockets, as much weight as we could get in to work in the tide. We started off with buckets and that, just the bits and pieces, and we found it was that was crazy. We were going to take too long, so we ended up using a wicket basket and a winch, the main winch on the HMA's banks. And we lowered the divers down and they'd fill up the basket and we'd hoist it up, and we had communications which we got off the Royal Navy in Singapore.
Why they were there was a mystery.
No one's ever owned up to taking the items like the shipment out there and dumping where it was dumped. No one's ever owned up to that. But I've been able to put the dots together. Back in 1946, after World War II, there was a huge surplus of ammunition lying around in storage depots just north of Peterborough, a little place called Tarawi, and at Gladstone, where they had a railway transport changeover system. There was a lot of other sorts of obsolete ammunition which was transported down to Port Germain Jetty, and it was loaded onto a ship using hand carts. And then that ship went out into the middle of the Gulf, and it was supposed to be heading out to the continental shelf for this obsolete ammunition to be dumped. But the military personnel that were on board overseeing the disposal of these items were horridly seasick, so they decided to pull up in a certain little spot in the passage here off of Port Lincoln, and it just so happened that it was near Taylor's Island, and they decided to unload it all there on the bottom of the ocean. The rusted one is what's left of a 3-inch mortar bomb that was salvaged from that area. It's been exploded through explosive ordnance demolition people, and it's basically just what's left of the casing. They also had the brass fuses in them, and that's one that's been sectioned so you can see inside what it looks like. And this item here is a Piat. So this is a projector infantry anti-tank projectile, so that's the bomb from the Piats. Well, the story had got out, and suddenly there was quite a few abalone divers who were going down there salvaging some of this stuff. Once some of the basic fuses were removed, they started coming across some of the 3-inch mortars, and realising that there might have been some danger in it, a couple of the boys took a couple of these things over to Taylor's Island and decided to give them a bit of a go, and sure enough they found out that there was quite a bit of explosive content in it, and they went off with quite a big bang.
abalone divers collected some of them.
There was tons of these things brought up by the ab divers. Now, where they went to before they went off to the scrap metal places, they could well have filtered out into the community. So there might be one or two lying around in sheds somewhere. So who knows how many are out there.
Some are now part of his collection. The divers were commended, and two of them later moved to Port Lincoln.